Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, and King Dio. And over the past couple of days, in between bursts of not being able to stay awake, I've been playing a lot of The Great Ace Attorney on Nintendo Switch. It's actually my current playthrough after No More Heroes 3. I'm generally pretty happy with it. I'm generally really happy with the change in direction, the pacing, having a different cast for once. There's a lot of positive things about The Great Ace Attorney. I've talked about that in my last video, talking about how I, as a Sherlock Holmes fan, am super happy with how they handled this. But that is to say, the game doesn't have its problems. I actually just finished the second episode, the Scarlet Band. I'm still not very far in the game at all. But I've kind of noticed a trend at this point in the story. Maybe things pick up in some of the later cases, but the first two episodes did not impress me from a mystery writing standpoint, and this stands in stark contrast to Ace Attorney 6. For those of you who aren't aware, I think Ace Attorney 6 is one of the best games in the Ace Attorney franchise because it really made the whole gameplay aspect, really took that and really incorporated lots of really good mystery solving, really good cases. I don't think there was a single bad case in Ace Attorney 6. All of it was great. There was a lot of variety, lots of great lots of great setups, and lots of great usage of established characters and concepts. The only real problem I had with Ace Attorney 6 was okay. It was all continuity problems, right? It's the same old cast doing the same old things, or if they do anything different, it's so out of line with what we've seen before. It's kind of unbelievable. One of the things I've always brought up is Apollo's extremely convoluted backstory as of Ace Attorney 6. He grew up in Khura'in, came to Japanifornia, got trained in the fucked around with robots for a bit, had a best friend who was going to be an astronaut, and somehow ended up meeting Phoenix Wright. It's unbelievably coincidental in a lot of ways, ridiculously so. And the entire setup of having a corrupt country with having this foreign country with this extremely corrupt legal system that was very, very pro conviction. That was pretty cool. It had a 100% conviction rating. That was a cool idea that they botched by having everything revolved around this conflict, right? The people aren't revolting because of the queen being a tyrannical cunt. It's because, oh man, our legal system isn't fair. I don't know, you would think she'd be doing a lot more than just fucking people over in the courts, but apparently in Ace Attorney 6, that's all that really matters. Everything in Ace Attorney, the mainline game, seems to revolve too much around the court system, honestly. By Ace Attorney 6. The thing I really like about The Great Ace Attorney is that it feels like it's emphasizing more the new characters, the setting, and some new ideas, right? It's a prequel. It's more historical fiction. You're going to I believe 19th century London. Meeting Sherlock Holmes, doing all this crazy stuff. From a conceptual standpoint, from a character standpoint, it's a much bigger, more interesting situation than Ace Attorney 6, right? It feels like they're not as obsessed over the whole court thing. In fact, throughout all of episode 2, there is no trial. I think that's a series first, actually. I can't think of any other Ace Attorney game that does not have a trial section. The entirety of episode 2 is an investigation segment, which is surprising because traditionally, I used to see investigation segments as being just filler in between the trial segments, but now the investigation segments are so well thought out and so engaging, they're just as interesting as the trial segments. They created an entire mystery that was solved entirely through the investigative segments by introducing a setup, having some characters, and then having you resolve the situation. And the characters themselves were interesting with well fleshed out, defined personalities, designs, backgrounds. The inspector in this game, Detective Osanoga, like, first time in a long time that I felt that like the someone on like the police force actually had a defined personality and like wasn't like a straight up antagonist. Like Hosonaga actually feels like he has like a personality, a background. Like your relationship with him like goes from just him being a witness, right, to the first case to like he being like your trusted ally and confidant by the second case. Like there's real character development and growth in these two cases. Like you actually establish your character. You establish like his relationship with those around him. You establish like these new ideas and these new character relationships and like the setting like really really effectively within these two episodes. And I loved that. Like I was all over it. I thought they did a really really good job when it came to the character drama. But the thing I'm noticing in episode 2 is that the mysteries themselves are a massive, massive step down from what we've seen in previous games. Like, I'm thinking specifically of, like, very early Ace Attorney. Like, I've been comparing this game mostly to Ace Attorney 6, which I think came out around the same time as this in Japan. But Episode 2 of this, of The Great Ace Attorney, is set up rather similarly to the original case, the original Ace Attorney, the second case in the original Ace Attorney, when like your mentor figure, Mia Fey, is suddenly murdered, right? That game kind of had like a terrible mystery too. It wasn't as they hadn't quite hit their stride yet. They hadn't quite like really done a great job like establishing the formula yet. Like it was your first like real challenge in the Ace Attorney game. I would say the Ace Attorney games didn't hit their stride until maybe case 3, maybe case 4 of the first game, and then like they just built their way up to like where they got to the level of quality where we expect today in Trials or Tribulations. But in case 1 too, like you have a similar plot thread, right? With this game, The Great Ace Attorney, like someone close to you dies, and the thing is, in Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, like that progression, like starting episode 2, having Mia murdered, having Phoenix like react to it, like having him like associate with meeting Maya Fey, like having him investigate the situation, having him like go through like the trial process, like all of that like felt really organic and really natural. Like everything about like that case felt relatively well handled. It made sense. It progressed the characters. Like The Great Ace Attorney almost does that. Like I said before, like they handled the character drama and relationships really really well, but there are a handful of things they really botch, and I think one of the things they unfortunately dropped the ball on really really hard is the mentor. Well, I don't want to get into too many spoiler details, but you have a similar character death in The Great Ace Attorney when your best friend dies, and you discover the body, and Ryunosuke, the protagonist, is immediately accused of killing him under these ridiculous circumstances. And like it's a very similar setup to like to Mia Fey's death. It's very similar actually, so much so that like I'm just like scratching my head saying, oh, they were doing so good with the originality of the concept. But they go through like the same motions, but like it doesn't have the same kind of emotional impact. It doesn't have like the same feel to it. And like as you progress through the story, you start to realize that like the explanation for this character's death is completely and utterly retarded and completely meaningless. Like honestly, completely fucking stupid in its simplicity and not I don't want to say nonsensical, like pointless in like motivation. Like there was no reason for this to happen. Like there was no motive. It was essentially an idiot. It was essentially an accident, or I should say, the actions of a stupid little girl who needs to rot in prison. Stupid bitch. hate that girl. What the? Oh yeah, he might call the cops. I've got to fucking kill him. Just unbelievable. Again, like the mystery aspect itself, was not good enough to keep the drama going. It's like they knew they had to get like this character out of the way so like Naruhodo Ryunosuke could become the protagonist, but they had to just kill this character off. There was no other way to do it. They couldn't have like a real they had to do it on the way there. That like it feels like they were trying to do something a little bit different, like than what they'd done previously. Something a little bit different, like kind of a subversion to a typical Ace Attorney case, right? Like there were all sorts of moments like that where like they named the case after they named the episode 2 after like the famous Sherlock Holmes story, the Speckled Band, where like a snake is sent down to assassinate people who live in a specific who are sleeping in a specific room. They named the case after that concept, but then they kind of like subvert your expectations by like having the snake just kind of be there and have absolutely nothing to do with the plot. Like the snake isn't even venomous. Like the entire thing feels like it's meant you to think that like they're building up to something in particular, but then like kind of subverting your expectations. And in a lot of ways, the subversion is not as interesting as what we would have gotten if they had just played it straight. Again, like I've talked about this before. Like there seems to be a trend in like a lot of modern mysteries and stuff like that. Like writers are more interested in like surprising you than actually coming up with like organic, interesting stories. You know what I mean? Like in this case, like they named the case after a famous Sherlock Holmes story involving a snake, and they don't have the snake do jack shit. Like it's just. Like, what was the point? Like, like it was just like misleading for the sake of being misleading. And there were so many moments during this where like they have these where they just don't do a whole lot with this mystery. It's drawn out, and there are plenty of times where you feel like you're way ahead of the characters when it comes to figuring stuff out. I'm specifically thinking of that bit where like. How the door latched itself, because it's supposed to be a locked door mystery. Ace Attorney these days seems to love the concept of just taking like the locked door mystery and just like just fucking with it. Like, oh man, they never use the fucking air vents. They seem like like that's the typical answer to these kind of situations. It's like, oh man, they somehow used an air vent, but. In Ace Attorney, they're always doing something else. In this case, like the door just latched itself because of something that the characters did. It's weird. Like it's better than Ace Attorney 6 in certain ways when it comes to like character interactions, character designs, like sort of the tone. Like actually having like an interesting sort of build up. But then when it comes like the actual mysteries, when it comes to like the mystery writing, it feels like they drop the ball a lot. Like it feels like they don't have like, it feels like a different writer, honestly. Like I don't know like who wrote this. I'm not sure if Shu Takami did it or if they had someone else. Like I don't know who was like, handling this. I thought the B team made Ace Attorney 6 and like the main team was making on that. Well, whoever was making whoever made Ace Attorney 6 deserves a fucking raise, because Ace Attorney 6 was phenomenal compared to this. Like I think at this point in Ace Attorney 6, like the second episode of the second case of Ace Attorney 6, you were doing the Trucy thing, right? Like you had like the Grimoire, and that was crazy shit. Like that was a really, really good case. This one, I definitely don't want to call it bad. I really enjoyed my time with it, but there are things that just make me just go like, huh? What are they doing? Like, what are they trying to do with these characters, with this mystery? They keep like it felt like this entire situation, episode 2, was like dragged out way longer than it needed to be. I don't think it would have taken that long for everyone to like figure out, like, for example, how like the door thing worked. Like, I figured it out the instant we saw it happen the first time. It was like, I don't know. It's always really frustrating when like you're one step ahead of the characters. Oh, yeah. By the way, this game is really weird in its. There have been weird times where like I select the wrong thing. I don't know if like the game is just harder than Ace Attorney 6 or in 5, but there have been plenty of times where I'm just like, wait, what am I supposed to select? It's been a while since I played an Ace Attorney game. Yeah, since 2016, I think. I don't think I've played a new one since Ace Attorney 6 came out. So, oof. Man, it's been a long time. It's been a long time since I got my hands on a new Ace Attorney game, and I'm enjoying my time with it. And I expect I personally find the game to my taste, but honestly, like at this phase, like is it better than Ace Attorney 6? And the answer, I think, is no. I think they tried something a little bit different, but it didn't pan out nearly as well as they hoped. That's my first impression of this, of where this game is going, and I think I'll want to play through both games before I give my final thoughts on this, because you know you have like the second Great Ace Attorney package in with this too. I don't know. I felt both episode 1 and 2 were too short. I didn't think the mystery segments were all that interesting. They were really short, but they also felt really padded out in a lot of ways. It was kind of bizarre. I think some of the emotion is there. I don't want to call the game soulless, because that just isn't true. But like if your best friend fucking dies, you don't just, I don't know, you don't just immediately go investigate his murder. You know what I mean? Like Ace Attorney 2, like Ace Attorney 1, Case 1-2 had the same setup, and like Phoenix and Maya took a lot of time to rationalize what they wanted to do going forward. Like, I'm not sure if most people remember this, but Maya initially did not want to hire Phoenix as her lawyer at all. They had to go through this little bit where like Phoenix went to Grossberg to try to get him to represent her, but he refused because Grossberg is a fat fuck who never contributes anything of value to anyone ever. Fucking Grossberg, what scum! Grossberg is the absolute word. Okay, enough bitching about minor Ace Attorney characters. like hate that fucker. Anyway, hate that fat fuck. Anyway, so Ace Attorney, the Great Ace Attorney, really enjoying it so far. Really enjoying the characters. Again, that is a highlight. Like, I think the new characters are some of the best we've gotten in recent years. I'm way more attached to them than I have been with a lot of the recent characters. Like, they actually feel like real people as opposed to like just gimmicks. Like so many of the characters in modern Ace Attorney games, they actually feel like real people with like well-defined personalities and backgrounds. Really like that. Really interested in seeing where the plot goes from here. Hopefully they really hit it out of the park in the next couple of cases. I will continue playing it over the weekend. Hopefully I'll be able to at least finish this game before my vacation ends. I still have a couple of days, so hopefully I'll be able to gun through it. Hopefully I'll be able to stick with it, and hopefully I'll be able to give you my thoughts in full sometime soon.